So welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday conversation. I'm Noelle Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved Bob Warner.
Hey, everybody. Great to have you here.
And this will be short and sweet because we want to get right to the second part of Barbara Marx Hubbard's Birth 2012 celebration. This is the old DVD here from the Planetary celebration. And that's what got us all started. And there's some thread from Birth 2012 that leads back to every one of you. So that's how our universe expanded and keeps expanding. So I'm going to go ahead and ask everyone to go ahead and mute themselves. And I do a screen share here.
Canfield is responsible for the only chicken soup that can be eaten by vegans. Welcome, please, to the great Jack Canfield.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to sing like Jamie. I want to dance like Tim up here when he's leading the choir. I want to preach like Michael. I want to make jokes like my wife. I want to own. And here's the thing, all of that is in me. It's in you too. We have everything in us to do everything we need. And we're now being called to do a lot. When I gave birth, I didn't give birth, as Mary Ann said, I catched a child. But once I did it, I realized, it's not something you do. You see these newscasts where people have their babies and they put them in a dumpster behind the hospital. People write books, but they never go out and promote them because they're shy. We can't do that anymore. We have to raise this newborn. We have to be responsible for it. I was born in 1944 during World War II. And I got in touch with my purpose when I was in graduate school. And I was asked as a group of educators, I started as a high school teacher, to go back to when we decided to become a teacher. And everyone went back to 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, Mrs. Jones inspired them, whatever. And I went back to before I was born. And I was floating through space, looking down on the planet Earth with a bunch of people I irreverently call the Golden Motorcycle Gang, because we were just a bunch of irreverent people, like Reverend Michael can be irreverent. We've done that together. And there were people that just love life. And we're having a good time. We're like on vacation. And we looked down, I saw there was a war going on. I went, oh my God, I got to go down there and help. And everyone went, come on, you're being codependent. Let them figure out their own problem. I went, no, I have to do this. And so a bunch of people chose to come down with me, and I keep running into people. And I go, oh, you're part of the Golden Motorcycle Gang. This is like a big collection of Golden Motorcycle Gang people here. And, once we're born, as I said, we have to do the work. And, I made this commitment to come down and help out. And then I got down here and I went, whoa, did I really commit to that? This is not as easy as I thought. It takes some work, it takes some effort, it takes some surrendering. I saw the Sufi dancing up here. I remember being at a 10-day retreat with Pir Vilayat Khan doing ecstatic Sufi dancing, and I've done rebirthing, and I've done Gestalt therapy, and I worked on myself. Just like when my wife and I were going through having a baby, we went to Lamaze classes and Bradley classes, and we breathed, and we got used to what the stages were. So when I remember my first wife going, screw this, take me to the hospital. I said, no, honey, they said you were going to say that. We're going to stay here and keep breathing. But if we hadn't known that, we might have jumped in the car and gone. And so it's going to be hard sometimes. And it's hard raising children, knowing when to be firm, when to love. It's an art. It's not a science. We're all being called now to step forward. I was leading a workshop in Hawaii with a man named Genpo Roshi, a Zen master, and 4-day workshop. And on day 2, he said to the group, I'm going to save you about 20 years of meditation. I'm going to tell you the secret of Zen. Y'all want to know? He said, it's real simple. It's called be yourself. Just be yourself. Be all of you right now, whatever shows up. The divinity, the irreverence, the fun, the dancing, the curiosity, the confusion, be it all. And when we're that, we show up as the gift. Barbara talks a lot about conscious evolution, and we're all coming forward to contribute ourselves, because in us is a piece of the solution. And if we'll just have the courage to step forward and be that. I love what Marianne Williamson said. It is a challenge. It's not over yet. The birth isn't easy, but then neither is raising the child. And I remember in the movie Parenthood, someone said, well, when do you finish being a parent? Said, well, when you die or the kids die, that's it, never ends. And so we have this opportunity to step forward and be all of ourselves. And, I wear a suit. You don't see too many suits up here today. But I've been in the Pentagon. I've worked with governments. I've worked with oil companies. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies. I go into boardrooms and I work with people to open up their hearts and their consciousness. But I want to look like them, so when I walk in, they don't think I'm the enemy. I call myself a plainclothes consciousness commando. But here's the thing. It's harder than you think to learn to listen long enough so that they'll shut up and listen to you. It's hard to learn how to communicate in a way from love, because when you're angry, you create more fear. And the only thing that's stopping us from having everything we want is fear. Fear of separation, fear of losing our job, fear of being killed, being annihilated, losing our connection with God, whatever it might be. And so if we'll step through the fear and also do the work that's required to develop the skill sets that are required, because there are skill sets that are useful, but done in a consciousness of love. So it's that two-sided thing of the two sides of the coin that are important. I'll end with a chicken soup story. It's funny, we talked about chicken soup you could eat. When I go to India, they go, we do not eat the chickens. Chickens, we are vegetarian. Why don't you do lentil soup for the soul? So one chicken soup story that I think is appropriate for today. There was a reverend named Reverend Jim, and he got a call from one of his parishioners named Aunt Hattie, and she said, would you come over to my house today? I've been to the hospital. I've been diagnosed with a terminal cancer. They've given me 6 weeks to live. I'd like you to come over and help me plan my funeral. He said, well, Aunt Hattie, we can do a prayer vigil. We'll help. She said, no. I've lived a long life. She was in her late 80s. She said, I just want to plan my funeral with you because I don't think my kids will do it right. So he goes over, and she says, I want to be buried in this dress. I want this person to do my hair because I don't trust the funeral parlor to do it right. I want this person to do my makeup. And then she said, I want this psalm read. I want this hymn sung. I want this prayer on a poem on a card given to people with my picture as a memory card. Then she said, I want to be buried with a Bible in my left hand, family Bible, and a fork in my right hand. And he said, well, I understand the Bible. You're very religious, but why the fork? And she said, whenever we have those church socials down in the basement and they have food and they're coming by to clear the plates afterwards, whenever there's going to be a really good dessert, like chocolate cake or apple pie or cherry cobbler or upside down pineapple cake, not like Jell-O or pudding, they always say, keep your fork. And so when they come by, they're going to look in, they're going to go, Reverend Jim, why the fork? You just look him right in the eye and you say, Aunt Hattie knew the best was still yet to come. And for all of us, if we have the courage to be ourselves, to step forward and bring our piece of the puzzle into the being, the best is yet to come. God bless you. I love you all. Thank you.
You know, to actually be alive at the very moment of an awareness of a planetary birth is for me the greatest joy of my life. And I'm seeing, of course, that this is just our first birthday. I had a vision, as Ronaldo was speaking, of our second birthday. In 2013, what if we really assembled an expression of everything that's working connected? What if we actually were able by 2013, which would be just like truly our second birthday, that we would feel, see, and know the emerging world in our midst, because it's already here. Even now, if we just do a planetary scan and imagine everything that's working in every field and function being coordinated by the great process of creation that brought us from no thing at all to everything that is here, and experience now, just as we conclude this marvelous first moment, as a mother and father and family are looking at that newborn, even though it's a mess, the parents know its potential. And the love, I would like to say, I don't even think that the birth period that almost led to destruction failed, because evidently it took this much overgrowth in the womb of Earth for enough people to wake up to the fact of our crisis of birth. If we hadn't had the feeling of overpopulation, pollution, depletion, would we have even known we're being born? So in this moment, as we're going through this magnificence of the moment, to thank the whole process, to thank everything that it took to bring us here, and to realize that our crisis is the birth of a co-evolving, co-creative humanity. And by knowing it now, let us call forth, starting within ourselves, the unique expression of creativity in us that has never yet been fully born. And maybe it couldn't be fully born until we knew we're all members of a planetary body being born. Maybe we're like cells in the body of a baby, eyes that have been built but haven't fully seen, ears that were developed but hadn't fully heard. Let's think of taking the lid off the top of all of our vocations as we give our gift into an emerging planetary body. Even somebody like me at 83, and all the so-called elders, they're all new too. And all the little ones who are just born, they're coming into a birthing world. And so for this, we just give thanks to the entire great creating process, the genius of evolution that is in every cell, every molecule, every organ of our body mind, and know that we're going to awaken our full potential now as members of a living, planetary, even universal species that is also signaling not only to each other, but to the universe itself, hello. We're here now. We're born, thank you, God. The music.
Now, I want to invoke all of us to co-create this new world together, to do it with the kind of love and grace and joy that you're experiencing here. And for me, one of the ways that I want to do that is with my beloved Deva Haley, who's not only my wife, but also my co-creator of the Shift Network, really the source of greatest joy and beauty and magic in my life. Not only her own magic as a teacher and an orchestrator of things, but she's also got magic as a musician.
And I'm going to be joined by, thank you all. This song was written at one of Barbara's retreats, and it kept waking me up in the middle of the night, line by line. I'd get back in bed, and then I'd have to get up and write another line. commit to make a shift? Will you commit to give your gift? If we be the change that we want to see, the shift comes down to you and me. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. If our ego moves from the driver's seat, our essence reveals a sacred love so sweet. As we join together in synergy, we're invited to live our divinity. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth.
So we have a deep commitment to peace in the Shift Network, creating the Summer of Peace, many partnerships from that, and our fearless leader as a trainer of peace pioneers, James O'D, is going to come up.
And because I'm an Irishman, I'm going to say a few words about peace before I do. But let me just say that Mahatma Gandhi said, "I have no enemies, only a few misguided friends." So I say to my friend Wayne Lapierre of the NRA, "Dear Wayne, your proposal to arm the teachers in the schools, we're not going down that path." Or maybe in language you'll understand, Wayne, "That dog ain't gonna hunt." But let me say also that Mahatma Gandhi also said something very incredible. He said, it would be easier to give sight to a blind person than to teach nonviolence to a coward. So we're invited to be very courageous at this time. As courageous as my dear friend Mary Rothschild, who after 3 days of dialogue with a former Nazi, here she is, the daughter of Holocaust survivors, and many of her family were lost, walked up to him and she said, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, yet I shall fear no ill, for thou art with me." So what I'd like you to do, just for a moment, is do this meditation twice with me. The first time, all of us walking together, say it in your heart. And then finally, let's bring this invitation of the birth to everyone. So when we say this meditation a second time, think of Wayne by your side. Think of all those people whom it might be difficult to be by your side. And say, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, yet I shall fear no ill, for thou art with me." We are doing this together. We have the capacities in peace building of reconciliation, of forgiveness, of healing, of restorative justice, of conflict resolution, of primary education in public, in peacemaking. We have all these capacities. Now is the time to create a culture of peace. Thank you.
Now we bring back to you Oscar Miro Quesada, who already invoked the sacred space for us, and he's going to share with us something of the nature of the prophecy of this time of eagle and condor. But Oscar Miro Quesada, Peruvian shaman, psychologist, very multifaceted being. Welcome. Heart of the Healer Foundation as well.
Gratitude, brother. Thank you. The prophecy of eagle and condor has been now a cliche, almost a mainstream story. Yet its origins are obscure. I've been asked to share a little bit about my understanding and experience and most important embodiment on my service path, my earth walk as a Kamasca curandero. Yet I'd first like to say that I am not a shaman. I'm a practitioner of the ancestral healing arts of my ancestors. A true shaman lives in Tungus, Siberia, lives in a community that still safeguards the ways that their original peoples held so dear in custody. I do the same, many of you do the same with your own spiritual traditions, but it's a far cry from being a master of trance, a master of vision, a master of shape-shifting in service to your community. That is done, yet it is done now in a way that is historically adaptive and relevant to our culture. And so are our prophecies. Hence, the prophecy of Condor and Eagle not only addresses the imperative of the coming together in creative symbiosis of the people that had been ostracized, marginated, oppressed, and almost exterminated, wiped out off the face of the earth, and with that, all of the sacred wisdoms and extraordinary abilities to keep a community vibrant, stirring, inspired, and earth-honoring. Yet we have held on, and the original prophecy emerged from what is known as the Take Onkoi, the dance of sickness, which, much like the ghost dance of the plains, was performed after the conquest, after the oppression had taken place, and subsequently was also forbidden, denied in its practice. The condor of the South, representing Heart Island, South America, and the eagle of the North, representing Turtle Island, North America, it is said soon, not yet, but soon, shall fly together in the pristine blue skies of the Hanak Pacha, of the superior realms, of that state of consciousness, of that bardo, of that human capacity to reside in a place, in a world, in relationship with that ultimate ground of being that is indispensable if we are to die and be reborn, reconfigured, transfigured as a planetary, spiritually evolved culture. So from mimicking the illnesses and enacting the ghosts of the ancestors, both in the Takyonkoi and the ghost dance of the plains in South America, they called in the ancestral spirits, and it scared their oppressors to such a degree that their revolution was successful. And they were left alone. And with 1 or 2 nights a week, they began practicing their ceremonies once again in seclusion. And little by little, more and more, our original instructions, our earth-honoring lifeways, the love for each other as indigenous peoples took root and was inherited by future generations. And today we see this resurgence of indigenous wisdom, of shamanism, and of many earth-centered, inspired teachings and, most important, right actions in the world. I'd like to end by saying that when the Eagle landed on the Apollo 11 mission, there was great rejoice. and a fulfillment of our prophecy that will elicit the awakening of what our beloved sister Barbara Marx Hubbard has so inspirationally gestated within her own womb. This new humanity, this universal state of being human, that will occur when the condor nests. And the next landing on the moon is prophesied by our people to be captained by a brown-skinned indigenous descendant of Hart Island, and the craft will be called the Condor. So mote it be.
You know, in this movement, in this new era that we're experiencing, all of the ways of artistic expression are coming forth, and there are transformational artists in every discipline, in every form of art. And one of the most extraordinary groups is the visionary artists, the visual artists. And in this particular day, in this moment, in Birth 2012, in the Unify movement, those artists have really shown up and contributed in a big, big way. I'm talking about people like Alex Gray, like Layla Love, like Amanda Sage. We've been projecting, that's Layla's art right there on that globe. You see that beautiful work? She has art in the White House, in the Museum of Modern Art. She's here today at Agape. So these visionary artists are, you know, in their way, in a visual way, bringing forth such a treat for our eyes. This particular duo also represents something very important in this new era, which is union. We've heard a lot about the masculine energy and its dominance of the last era, and feminine energy and its beauty and what it brings in the unique ways that men and women serve individually. And then there is that, how do we work together? How are we a couple? How are we in relationship? That's what's going on here. We have a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, who work together to bring this beauty you're about to see. It's a combination of technology and spontaneity. Our main artist, Andrew, is going to be painting live for us. His wife, Phaedra, is going to be dancing. Together are known as Phaedroid. Please welcome them to Agape.
Welcome back, Birth 2012. Here we come. Proudly sponsored by the Shift Network and Agape Spiritual Center.
Yeah, we had a chance to see Reverend Michael Beckwith as part of our programming here, and we'll continue to see him and other luminaries throughout the course of our live broadcast that is coming to you around the world from locations around the world. More than 40 different live celebrations, ceremonies around the world celebrating December 21st, the solstice, the end of the Mayan calendar, and the beginning of a new era. So we want to take you to one of those locations right now.
Here we are in India at the moment, and it's so beautiful. If we look into all the ancient texts from around the world, whether it be the Mayans or the Indians, they all talk about the shift of the ages.
This is an event that you should not miss. It's a one-time event. It'll never happen again.
What's shifting? In the Druid belief, basically, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Handle it and change it.
As we celebrate the birth of a new era, let us all begin a way of life that is responsible toward our planet and all life. Let us unite our hearts in prayer to bring about a shift in consciousness of humanity.
All of the nations that is here on the earth with us, beloved Mother, may we walk in harmony, may we walk in peace, may we walk with all of the spirit of all of the trees and all of the plants and all of the vegetation that you have put on this earth.
So now we're seeing getting a flavor for the atmosphere of the place and images that help establish the ambiance for us as we enter into the world of Teotihuacan, about an hour outside of Mexico City.
Then that energy is life.
Es vida.
Everything
Todo
is moved by life.
Es movido por vida.
That life is God.
Esa vida es Dios.
Is you, is me.
Eres tú, soy yo.
Is everything that exists.
Es todo.
Now we take you live to
She
Jerusalem.
was very excited, and
this is Thomas Hubble.
Part of why we are here together. And we decided that we are going to do a sound meditation in this half an hour, which will involve all of us.
So this Mayan moment is our Mayan moment for the wells of salvation.
Kwembele lang ngaya. Ngaya nga jiyaw ngaya nga bana mo na ngaya. Ngaya nga jaja mo na ngaya. Ngaya nga guryabal ngaya nga.
You may be watching in one of the many countries that are having the celebrations. We're in Australia, Egypt, India, in Britain, of course, in Mexico at the Mayan pyramids, in Peru, Guatemala, China, Japan, Brazil, Jerusalem, in Israel, and other locations. So you're watching from somewhere around the world, and for you it might be morning, afternoon, evening, but it really is the dawn of a new day for the entire planet as we look at the end of the 2,600 years in the Mayan calendar and the beginning of a brand new cycle.
We have with us someone I like to refer to as the Dream Queen. She's the CEO and founder of Dream University and really one of the key people who held me and my dream and the Shift Network as I sought to birth it 3 years ago. She's a incredible manifester and a great heart and a really sweet human being. So welcome, Marcia Weeder.
Hey. Okay, I feel like a proud mama today because I was there at the birth of the birth of the birth. So in the short time that I have with you, I want to take you through just a short ritual so that, as Stephen said, each and every one of us will leave here in action on the dream that we're called to manifest. Okay, so just taking a moment, closing your eyes, feeling your feet firmly planted on the ground so that we really are grounded. Because at the end of this ritual, I will ask you to take a stand for the vow of your life. So first, take a deep breath in And allow this breath as you're exhaling to allow you to get fully present and relaxed at the same time. Take one more deep breath in, and using this next breath to really empty, to make space to become receptive. And I invite you to bring your hand to the center of your chest, lightly touching your heart. And with that light touch, activating the qualities of your heart. Compassion, unconditional love, healing presence, and innate harmony. And just taking a moment to yourself to say this: heart, I'm listening. What do you want me to know? Heart, I'm listening. What is it that you want me to know? And listen for the answer. Allow yourself to easily receive any guidance and recall it. Next, what is the highest intention for my life at this time? In order to live in integrity with this intention, as Michael spoke about, there are things I need to get rid of. So, what is it I need to say no more to? Is it a habit, a mindset, a person, an old pattern or contract? Right now, show me what I need to say no more to, so I can say, now what? With my intention held closely to my heart, and no more as a space to open up for new creation. We all know that a vow is a promise that we make to God. So now that we're on the other side, birthing this new era and life for ourselves, what is the vow that you would make in this moment? The promise that you will make to God for how you will live the rest of your life and maybe the rest of your lives. Silently say to yourself, I will remember. I will remember, because this is who I am, and this is why I am here now. Bringing your presence, your awareness, your consciousness back into this room here and now. Feeling those feet, still maybe even more so, firmly planted on the ground. You've got the intention for your life. You've made the commitment to clear away some of the clutter. You know what your vow is. Taking a moment in silence and holy reverence to feel what it feels like to stand for something because you consciously choose it. To bring our will in partnership with God's will, in service to the greater will of healing and awakening the planet. We are not alone. We gather on this holy day, in this holy place, in witness of each other and ourselves, that we may move forward from this point on, using our lives truly to be in service, to use your holy gifts that you were given at this time in life in service to making the world a better place. I see you. I love you. I honor you. And as a fellow pilgrim, I'm so grateful to be on this sacred path with you. God bless you. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for a servant of humanity. She's an extraordinary artist, a beautiful friend, and a lovely woman, Miss Shaka Khan.
Hello, Agape. This is a song that is going to be for what's going on right now in our spiritual journey. With the earth, healing the earth, and bringing people into one consciousness of love and hope. And the name of this song is called It's Not Over. that you got problems. It's like you're living on borrowed time. You think that you can't solve them, and you can still get heaven on the line. I'm gonna light a candle, show you you can handle anything that takes your breath away. So don't you be nervous, we all stand in service. Nod your head, it might be time to pray. Oh, start now, it's never too late. You got some living to do. Start now, stop running away. You gotta do it for you. Over, it's not over, it's not over, it's not over, it's not over. You're searching for a miracle. You see it and open up your eyes. Rushing like a waterfall, cleanses you and bathes you in the light. I'm gonna light a candle, show you you can handle anything that takes your breath away. So don't you be nervous, we all stand in service. Bow your head, it might be time to pray. Can't stop now, no, running away. You got some living to do. Stop now. Oh, it's never too late. You gotta prove it to you. Over, it's not over, it's not over, it's not over, it's not over. It's yours, don't be afraid. Just lift your arms and walk this way. Believe me, there will come a day, but not today. No, not today. You're running away. You got some living to do. Stop now. You know it's never too late. You got prove it to you. It's not over. We got some living to do. Got a lot to do. Yeah. It's not over. It's over. It's not over. It's not
Give some love to Shaka Khan.
Okay, Michael Bernard Beckwith, in addition to being the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, an amazing teacher who I've had the privilege of learning with, he is leading us in this moment, all of us as one planet, in a worldwide visioning. Reverend Michael.
So we're going to have a very brief moment of visioning the world that we want to live in. And so I invite you to take a deep breath, release the sound of ah. Let that heart open. Deep breath, sound of ah. Put your attention on that which we would call unconditional love or all conditional love. The love of God operating in the human heart as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. described it. A love that has no agenda and represents the divine in a way that it doesn't have any withhold in it. It is always giving of itself totally and completely and cannot turn itself off. That's the love of God. And begin to contemplate all the moments in your life where you were touched by the vibration and the frequency of unconditional love. And we are aware that we're living, moving, and having our beingness in divine love. We're not living, moving, and having our beingness in worry, in fear, in doubt. We're living and moving and having our beingness in love. And it is from this awareness that we ask a series of questions, knowing that lawfully the universe answers every question that we ask. Heretofore, we may have asked disempowering questions. Why me? Why is this happening again? Who's to blame? What's wrong? Not here, not now. We ask a different set of questions. We ask, in this field of love and safety, what is God's idea of itself as our life? What is God's idea of the world? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And beyond the sensorium, what is God's idea of itself as the world? What is its potential? What is its promise? And we listen with the ear beyond the ear, consciousness. We see with the eye beyond the eyes, consciousness. For we do not see because we have eyes. We have eyes because we see. Form follows consciousness. So we have sight that produced the sensorium. So now we're coming back to where it all began, consciousness. What's God's idea of itself as our life? What's God's idea of the potential and the promise of our world? Let's listen and see. Incrementally, we're being pulled by a vision. Pulled by a promise that's already within us. What does it look like? What are the possibilities? What does it feel like? What's pulling us? We ask another question, possibly the most important question. What is it that we must become in order for this vision that is pulling us to manifest? What is our growing edge, individually and collectively? What is our growing edge? Where must we grow? Each of us knows our own dark side. We know our potential that hasn't been activated. We know promises within ourselves that we haven't yet kept. What is it that we must become now in order for this magnificent vision, this tremendous promise that's held within the mind of the infinite? What must we become? In the privacy of our own interiority, we hear the answer. Where we must stretch, where we must grow, where we must be transformed by the renewing of our minds. What is our growing edge? And as we're simultaneously catching the vision, as we're simultaneously being conscious and aware of our space of growth where we must grow and evolve, we become aware of the talents and gifts and capacities we already have activated that can be in service to the vision that we're now beginning to articulate. Therefore, we ask, what is it that we can now let go of that no longer serves us? Habits, perceptions, points of view, beliefs. What is it that no longer serves the manifestation of this vision, this idea held in the mind of the infinite? Be with that for a second or two. Now, very importantly, you're aware that over your life, every significant move for you oftentimes contained your willingness, period. The activation of your sacred yes. A commitment beyond maybe, beyond let me see, beyond what will I lose if I do this. Somewhere within your life, you said, I'm willing. Your yes became activated. Find that sacred yes within your own being. The place that goes beyond maybe. The place that goes beyond, well, let me see what's in it for me if I say yes. Find the yes. Take a breath. Amplify the yes within you. Let yes reign supreme. Let go. And as you consider the vision, as you consider the promise, as you consider what you must become and what we must become to download and manifest this tremendous vision, as we consider what we already have that can be used in service to the tremendous vision, as we consider what we must let go of, let us feel into the yes. And let us give ourselves full permission here. Say yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I can. Yes, I am willing. Yes, we are able. Let's do that again. Yes, we are willing. Yes, we can. Yes, we are able. Yes, I am. Feel into your sacred yes. Feel into your sacred yes. Where there is willfulness, there is a wall. Where there is willingness, there is a way. Where there is willingness, a way can be made out of no way. It is the vibration of the miraculous. We invite tremendous willingness, even if we don't know how. We're beginning to articulate the what. Willingness takes over our life. And in this sweet spot here, the word is spoken that this tremendous vision that is always inviolate, it's never hurt. It's always waiting for the proper condition for its rising up. We have become and are becoming in this moment the right condition through our willingness, through our ability to see it and articulate it, through our inner dynamism of saying yes to our own growth. Something beautiful is taking shape. We see it, we see it, we see it. The promise and the possibility of our world. We feel it. And we become willing to walk in that direction, to talk from that space, to act from that space. That the realm of ever-expanding good, which is another name for heaven, gets to be anchored in our heart and soul, our word and our steps. For this, and more than words could ever say, we stand in gratitude and in thanksgiving, allowing it to be so. And so it is. Amen. Deep breath. Hold the space of the vision. Hold the breath in the space of the vision. That your nervous system be recalibrated around love and around the vision of this bright new world. Release it with the sound of ah. Jack Canfield and I and some of Ronaldo were in Rome this year. One of the things that emerged as we were doing our work there was that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not arrive and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a complaint today." It wouldn't have worked. He said, "I've got a dream." We're saying we have a dream. We have a vision. And our pain pushes us until the vision pulls us. And so we're standing in our vision, learning how to articulate it. So your conversations with each other is to come from the possibility and the promise of a world that works for the highest and the best within all of us. That's where you're coming from. That's what we're anchoring. That's the way it is. And so it is.
Best of
What is your one birthday wish for Barbara?
Let there be peace and joy at the same time. Let it be fun as we work for this collective birth.
My birthday wish for Barbara is that the essence of who she is could permeate the entire world as it has today.
My birthday wish for you is that you realize the horse is out of the barn and you can rest now.
7 billion children.
I wish you immortality.
A cosmic arousal.
Ditto.
That is definitely the best place to end. It sounds like there might be a second birth maybe 9 months out.
So I want to acknowledge and congratulate Stephen and the Shift Network for one of the greatest innovations we've seen. And my birthday wish for you, Barbara, my dear sister, may this innovation that you birth go virally amongst the planet and have it become true. This was birthday.
And I want to thank my co-producer partner, Stephen, and Deva as well, because none of this would have happened if they hadn't seen the way with me. I would have been in my rocking chair.
May it be so. We love you, Barbara. We love you.
what I just want to open it up, see what anybody else has to think about. I mean, it was quite a celebration, quite an elaborate celebration. If anybody wants to unmute and speak into it, that. So Pamela, go ahead.
I'm just so sorry I missed it. I would have loved to sing with the choir also, and to be a part of the celebration. I mean, you could just feel it. I mean, even though we're just sitting here watching it, the energy just it has continued, and it just touches you so deeply. It's just beautiful. Thank you.
And you know, that was just like 2.5 hours of a 2-day event.
Yeah, it was 2 full days.
Can't imagine.
So to try to condense it all in.
12 hours a day.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know the story about Barbara Marx Hubbard, how she met her husband. That she was, you know, going to school, college, and she was in the West Bank of Paris, and went into this little cafe to have some, you know, do all the things they did on the what they call it, the West Bank, where all the trendy people were, and went to this cafe, and there wasn't any place to sit down. And so she asked, there was this person there and there was a seat, and she asked if she could join him. And he said, sure. So they had a glass of wine. And so Barbara, I'm going to mess it up, but Barbara asked some questions. She asked a Barbara question, like, what do you think would change the future of humanity or something like that? And he said, obviously, it's the artists. And so she said she knew right then and there that that's who she was going to marry, that the artists are on the edge of everything. So, you know, it's really wonderful in this celebration how much they included the arts and celebration. And that's in her book. I think it's this book, or maybe it's a Conscious Evolution book, where she tells that story.
Yeah, it's not in there, I'm sure.
Not in this one, but yeah, so I really, it was really just a joyous, joyous celebration.
Others, what are other reflections?
Anyone else want to jump in? And
everybody was, I was taken by Reverend Michael's moment. That was probably the day before. Agape actually did all the programming for the entire day on the 21st, and the Shift Network was responsible for all the programming, including the worldwide check-ins and all of that on the 22nd. And the segment there with Michael was on the 21st, because you heard him talking about visioning and what is to be and what we create together and what our individual vision is. And it just struck me so about him inviting us to take a breath, and how many breaths have we made, how many breaths have we had in the last 9 years since then? We take about 8 million breaths a year. And yeah, it's just what the journey has been since that for us has been quite a miracle. And all of you were alive on December 22nd, 2012. One of you was even having a birthday party. So Olivia, yes, please share.
I struck with two things. One is I'm remembering that at the Peace Village, we had this amazing talk and practice with Venerable Dhani in the Adawi Temple. And afterwards, we had rainbows in the sky that went on for hours. It's like they didn't go away, all in the little town of Bristol in Lincoln, Vermont. It was amazing. I have photographs. And the other thing is that I'm really looking at the whole prophecy of the legend of the Rainbow Warriors, because I'm seeing it with the big picture, how what Barbara did with all of you fits into that prophecy, which is that at this time of great turning and chaos and collapsing of the systems, there would be these light workers that they called the Rainbow Warriors, that aren't just Native American or people of culture or color or whatever, but all of us. In this sacred hoop that was going to be mended in this golden age that's coming. And I've been doing this research and seeing how many cultures, particularly indigenous, all over the world have held this prophecy, and how it's not written in rock. It all depends on what dream we are dreaming, you know. So this is so wonderful to be here with all of you from time to time, and know that we're all in this together. And Barbara, I remember when I first heard her, I never met her in person. I was so sorry, but I did study with her online, and I felt, wow, this is amazing what she wants to do. How can this ever happen? And then I look at how many light workers there are now, and unity peace, and all these beautiful things that are happening. So it makes me very joyful. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Olivia.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes.
All true.
Happy New Year. Yeah. So Annie, would you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I have a question. So unfortunately, this is not in color to show the rainbow, but I want to see if you can see it. You see that image?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that's the Rainbow Bridge meditation that goes through the crystalline core of the earth. Barbara was very aware of and connected to Jose Arguelles, who wrote Manifesto for the Noosphere, and he was the one who channeled the Mayan wisdom, the Mayan dream spell wisdom. And she actually writes a dedication in here about his work. So, you know, I'm just really reflecting, watching this, how plugged into all that she was. And then Olivia, as you're bringing out the Rainbow Warriors, I'm wondering, I just wanted to throw it out to this group because I'm curious as to whether the Rainbow Warriors are, because what the Rainbow Bridge meditation is, so Jose Arguelles, you may know, he's the one who organized the convergence, the harmonic convergence of 1987, and he was really the one who really, in some sense, popularized or promoted and the awareness of this end of the 26,000 year cycle. That he recognized that that's what the Mayans had recorded, because the Mayans recorded things on bark paper and then it was destroyed, but then they found this tomb. Anyway, not to go into the whole story, but he very much understood the power of people coming together in a meditative fashion. And so this Rainbow Bridge meditation is every day, but once a week also. I believe it's on Sundays right now that people around the world do this Rainbow Bridge meditation of activating the noosphere, being in touch with the crystalline core of the earth. And then that image that you saw, and you can look it up, Rainbow Bridge meditation, but just had to wonder if that was connected and if y'all knew anything about that.
I don't personally.
Yeah.
I don't personally, but I will look it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Rainbow Warriors, Olivia, doesn't have anything to do with that. I'm thinking.
What I would reference is Stephen McFadden, Legend of the Rainbow Warriors. And he's also written another book where he interviewed wisdom keepers. It was written around 2000, I think. So it was right around the turning. He talks about the harmonic convergence as well.
Okay.
But it's very powerful to look at how many cultures globally held this vision, this prophecy, from the Aborigines to the Lakota, to the Cherokee, to the Iroquois, to the Hawaiians, it's amazing. And the Chinese and Japanese too. So it's very, very powerful in different cultures. And as Joseph Campbell says myth is our connection to the cosmic consciousness. So, it doesn't matter whether it's real, it's what it does for us. Are we learning and growing from it? Is it helping the people? As Venerable would say, is it growing corn to feed the people? So, yeah, that's one of our favorite discussions. I love that.
I love that. I love that.
When it just strikes me when you talk about that, Olivia, and about and also about the harmonic conversions, Annie, is that how much was going on at that same period of time?
Yeah.
Not just those 2 days, but plus or minus months or whatever, all over the world. And there was a lot going on those 2 days in many places across the world. As we mentioned last week, we were with Barbara in Byron Bay for the days leading up to this, and there's a whole festival going on there. And it's one of the regrets, Robin, you say, you didn't even know this compilation existed. One of the things we missed, because we were there for those 48 hours at Agape, was I'd love to see the B-roll from this, because the B-roll would be all of the broadcasts from all the things that were going on that we got 30 seconds of from Giza and from the Peace Sanctuary in Japan and all those other places. The B-roll to this must be outrageous. I mean, we were aware that the way we became connected with Sunrise Ranch, which eventually begat the Co-Creators Convergence meeting there, was that when they contacted us when we were on our tour around the country from the ranch, they said, please stop by and show the movie here, because we're already plugged in and we're going to be one of the places they're going to cut away to on December 21st or 22nd. So there actually was an event, a multi-hour event at Sunrise Ranch in the Dome, which we never saw. We have no idea what happened or anything else that happened there. But it was one of the places that the production company that was in a soundstage across the street from Agape, where you saw that the fellow and the gal that were the broadcasters, if you will. And so they had all of that available to them. There was so much going on in the world. We've come to know people since then that that were in fact in Egypt at the pyramids during that day. It's we stand on the shoulders of all of that energetically.
It was pretty amazing, and I think that we did that tour the whole year for Birth 2012, trying to tell people about it. Robin knows we in our RV went to 48 states, 100 presentations, and then when it was over, we didn't know what was going to happen next. We had no idea. We're just like, okay. And then Sunrise Ranch contacted us and they said, Humanities team is giving Barbara Marx Hubbard a spiritual leadership award at the end of May. And a lot of Barbara's students. So why don't you have a retreat? And at the end, Barbara will get her award. And we're going like, we don't know nothing about doing a retreat. What are you talking about? And
know how to play a DVD. That's all we got. That's all we got.
So
drive.
Yeah, but we ended up getting 4 other people, and then we had this event at the end. Barbara got the award. Neil Donald Walsh was there, and it was a great event. And then everybody said, well, we should do this every year. And so
there you go.
So we've been carrying the water ever since. And I'm glad we are, because, we got reconnected with Robin and got to meet new people. And, it's wonderful. There's still it's really great that there are so many more of us, I believe. Yeah. And I think that as our light gets brighter, that's why things are getting darker, that we have to just keep that light. And as Barbara, I always quote Barbara, our crisis is a birth. There's going to be breakdown before breakthrough. And those are the quotes that really get me through these times, because, without them, it would be really easy just to feel like there's nothing you can do and to give up. And so I'll get off my pulpit and
one of the things that I'm thrilled about right now that's going on is the James Webb space telescope that was launched on Christmas Day to go out and to look through time like never before. And it just, to me, there's this thread in my thinking back to Barbara. And when you see her autobiography movie, the story of Barbara Marx Hubbard, American Visionary, there's a little piece of that, and it's certainly in Neil Donald Walsh's autobiography of her, where she was convinced that we were going to have a space program that was run by the people, not by the government. And she actually went to NASA and asked how much it cost her to rent an Atlas rocket, because she wanted to have a people's space program. And so I just, with this telescope being launched on, a few days after her 92nd birthday, as we watched that go off on Christmas morning, we're sitting there talking about Barbara going, she is laughing and she is having such a good time, to know that those of us that are still in physical form here are going to get to learn so much more in the coming weeks, months, years. It really is, it's a joy to be a part of that. Yeah.
Very exciting this next month.
It's funny. I don't even know how I got involved. Something came to me to do a meditate. I got information, and it was about a meditation on, I think it was the solstice, and then so it's just like a unifying meditation, and then it went into, they said, oh, when we're partnering with so and so, and suddenly it was a meditation inviting the benevolent other people, benevolent beings from other worlds. And it was just funny, like, because I wasn't expecting. I was like going, do I want to do that? Is that what I, and they had these pictures of like all these UFO or other these spacecraft, all of them like surrounding the Earth and people looking up, and I was like, well, that's kind of like space clutter. But anyway, it was just interesting. I just found myself invoking the wish to draw in the extraterrestrial beings.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, well, Barbara always wanted to have contact, direct contact. So, well, yes, we should close. Thank you all for coming.